All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. So let's just really quick recap why we're up right now. So if you don't know, non-farm payrolls came out this week on Friday and basically signaled that jobs were definitely slowing down, which should hint at unemployment rising, which is one of the reasons the Fed said they would cut, is if that happened. You also had Apple earnings come out pretty decent. The revenue wasn't a crazy beat or the EPS, but it was more of the dividend raise. I think of 0.4% to 25 cents overall. And then they also did the largest buyback in stock history. Apple ended up gapping up from essentially 173, moved into 187, one of our key levels. And now you're kind of on the retrace back to the 200 SMA. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a sec. But going into this week, there's not too much here on the news that's coming out, right, that we're looking for. No real data. Right, we have some Fed members talking. I will say Fed members talking will be interesting. You're going to definitely need to know which ones are bullish, which ones are kind of bearish on the market, and don't expect many cuts. Like Kashkari doesn't expect anything good to really happen. Some of the others are a little bit more optimistic. But you don't really have anything until necessarily Friday. You have some jobless claims on Thursday, which will be interesting. We would like to see that drop. Or actually raise, sorry. But you also do want to see Michigan overall data, inflation expectations, etc. But that's Friday, Thursday, Monday through Wednesday. There's not too much happening, okay? And that's really interesting. Also, over this weekend, we just had Warren Buffett's annual investor meeting, investor seminar, whatever you want to consider it, and pretty interesting, okay? Brand new, Warren Buffett sold more than 1 million shares of Apple, basically over this past quarter, right around 13% of his total holdings. Now, I will say, very interesting the timing in which he's doing it. It seems like it's coming out around that higher tax time. There's rumors of a lot of new rules coming into effect, higher capital gains tax. So it could have been an anticipation of that. He's also been very clear when you look at why he has so much cash is he just doesn't see a lot of opportunity across the board right now. So that's also very interesting and important to be paying attention to, as far as buying things at low levels and holding them long term, because we know Buffett's a long-term guy. Okay. And really quick, let's go into.
And now let's briefly talk about my favorite investing app and the sponsor of today's video. If you're interested in trading the exact same broker in which I'm using for options and what I'm doing market research on, this is exactly who I'm using. This is Moomoo. This is their platform on their desktop. You can also check it out for the mobile app as well. This is their live news feed. And if you're thinking about making the switch, right now is a pretty good time because right now they're doing a 1.5% cash reward up to $300 if you transfer in. Or if you're just getting started and you want to kickstart your journey, Moomoo is giving you 5 in each of the Magnificent 7 stocks when you make a qualified bonus. You can go down and scroll and see all of this. It's right there on their website. Check them out. The link is down below.
Okay, so now we're going to head back into SPY and Qs and give you a little bit of a visual rundown going into this week. SPY, you're coming into that 512, 513 level. That's a massive point. Okay, we look at volume as well, and volume's been pretty interesting. Let's go to the daily so you can get a more clear example here on the volume. We've definitely seen a pickup of volume going into this week, 100% since Tuesday. Massive pickup, even if it was from sellers stepping in, but still volume has picked up, which it was definitely declining here basically since the 19th all the way into the beginning of May. Definitely saw that nice decline, which for me was kind of worrisome with the expected move of getting increased volume if we broke down, which it kind of was happening. And then obviously the Fed meeting happened and things kind of took a turn for the better, right? And that's where we're at now. So going into this week here on SPY, all I want to see is can we get back above this 512, 513 level, okay? That's the main thing. Let me actually hide this real quick. It just looks a little ugly while we're going over all this. And again, if you actually want to see these indicators on my screen, the levels, the volume, that's from Lux Algo. The link is down below if you ever want to check them out. Use code OD40 for 40% off. So SPY, you're looking to get a break back above this area. So really quick, you want to see a break, hopefully a mount, and then pushing back into 516, ideally. Now, the biggest thing for me has not been SPY to watch. It's been more of Qs and the Nasdaq, because SPY's been pretty bullish. And I'll give you an example. We'll come back to Qs. But looking at ES. ES has been operating. This is your 2021 high. Let me just mark that out for you as well. So 2021 high. Okay, that's all you need to know. This little number here, this little line, let's highlight. Let's change the color real quick to red as well. I already did it for Nasdaq, but you've been well above that level, right? We can all agree you're operating clearly above that. To be bearish, you got to get below it. To be bullish, you're obviously above it. You mounted above previous highs here. You're moving into 51.90, 51.87. In my opinion, that's my target there. So pretty likely. Now, when we go into Qs, things are a little bit more tricky. Okay, Qs, you're getting above some levels. You got above our level we mentioned here, 432. That's been our kind of line in the sand, right? Our next level here is, we have a little bit of turbulence around 437, 436, but we're expecting a 440 push at this point. And when we go into Nasdaq looking at futures, I think things get even more clear because this little red line here is your 2021 high as well. And look at that mount that you had. Again, kind of resembles that 432 marker on Qs. You broke, you mounted. Now you're kind of sitting at around these previous lows that we kind of had here. Also, a little tip of that breakout, the first breakout that we had, kind of the SR flip. So you can actually see when we look here is you broke above it, then you held. And eventually when you broke it, you started seeing extreme selling. So getting back above 1804, 1807 is going to be very critical because if we can start to get that type of movement and go to a smaller time frame here, I believe personally that you're going to start moving quick. So getting above this little area, we can even make it into a little bit of a zone about right here. So if you start getting above this level, highly likely you have about almost 300 points of upside into 1837. It's been 2-3 weeks since we've been back in this range, but you remember when every time we'd bounce here, we'd bounce right back into that 1837. That was a clear cut range. Every time we touch that bottom range, we pop back up. So again, I expect that type of reaction to this level as well, and just ultimately what I'm looking for. Okay, so make sure you're understanding that. So overall, going into this week, we still look really good. You're above your massive point on Nasdaq in the overall market. Those are things that we want to see and things that are good to see. Okay, also too, guys, if you're not following on Twitter, the link is down below as well. I'm posting different charts, different updates, whether it's news, Bitcoin, etc. So I'm trying to keep you guys posted. Okay, now before we go into equities, let's also cover some Bitcoin because a lot of you guys have Bitcoin questions. And when I'm looking at Bitcoin, I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I think you look really good here over the weekend. For Bitcoin, for myself, there's been essentially 3 major levels, right? This level here is a minor level in my opinion, so let me just make that white. Okay, so you have your 64K, 69.2, and 59.2. 59.2. If you get below that level, sellers step in aggressively, very bearish. You can push out of the 200 SMA and your Lux algo level down there. 64K, it's your median point. Above this, you push down to 59.2. Above 64K, highly likely you push back into 69.2. You have a little level here where you've been getting rejected when you were more bearish and you had some bad news from the stock market, but locally 67K. Okay, I think Bitcoin looks really good. And a lot of people keep asking me, Tyler, what's your opinion on crypto and where we're at? Are we going to, trade counter to the market? Now, there's no part in my body that I think crypto is going to shoot up if the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 get hit, meaning they go down. Okay, I don't think that's a real possibility here in the short term. I'm going to tell you right now. So it's in my opinion, Bitcoin's very dependent on the stock market right now. Now, I think eventually it can deviate, but while it's trading in this same range, and it's important to identify that you've been in this range since the end of February doing nothing. You've been trading sideways. I know sometimes we like to imagine that things are bearish because we're not moving in the direction that we want, but you're still moving inside of a clear-cut rectangular box, a range back and forth. If you would like to see what bearish behavior looks like, it's very simple. I can show you. You can go back to 2021 through basically 2023. You went straight down. There was no rectangle. It was a downward channel. The end, right? So that's what bearish behavior looks like. And we can look back here as well. You go from 2021 down to mid 2021. You can go back even further from 2017. Like I can go on and on and on. So there's no reason to overcomplicate this. Right now you're trading in a clear-cut range. All things considered, you still moved up from February of this year, February. Yes. Pretty crazy. You moved up February this year from 42K all the way to 72, a $30,000 push in literally a month. So yeah, kind of bizarre when you think about it. So that's right on Bitcoin. Again, if you break above 64K, which you're holding now, I think you get a push closer to 70K, especially if we get continuation from the rest of the market. And I really don't usually do this on this main channel. I try to do some of this other stuff on the second channel now going forward, but really quickly, Some of the cryptos I'm liking a lot. Solana, again, I think it's a huge opportunity back above 143, above the 200 SMA. Looks really good. I think it's going to go back over 200. AVAX, these are just the cryptos that I like, so do what you want with that information. You're holding back over the 200 SMA. You look good. Again, I think this thing can get back over 65, run closer towards 100. AVAX, one of my top names there as well. ICP, one of my smaller names here, but I still like them. A lot of hype behind them as well. Looking pretty good. As long as they hold below the 200 SMA, they look good. Probably the better opportunity across the names I just mentioned. And then my small, cheap stock that I like right now is CSwap. I have a stupid amount of this name, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I have a stupid amount of this crypto. So anyways, yeah, so those are my cryptos I like. Let's get into the equities though, right? This is the good part going into this week. What are we looking for? Now, obviously, if you didn't get into the newsletter this week, the link is down below. Make sure you check it out. You'll get next week's. So anyways, top names of the week. I'm just gonna go over a few. Number one, my baby, it's Netflix. I love Netflix. I love where you're at. I'm very bullish on Netflix. I think you look great. I'm already in this. I've decided to hold a little bit longer over the weekend, but I got some June contracts, so I'm fine. I mentioned this in Discord as well. You're breaking out of your range down here. You're very, in my opinion, right? We can just bring this up and identify it. You can see this area here, basically from 580 all the way almost into 600 is illiquid, even though my first target is near 590, 592. So very bullish on Netflix. You're entering an area of illiquidity. And I want to mention right now, Netflix earnings were good. They were very good. The only reason they dropped is because they expect subscriber growth to slow down. That does not mean they're going to make less money. That just means they're running out of people to get to subscribe. People, look at Disney, look at Hulu, look at Hulu and Disney, same thing. Look at HBO, look at Paramount. Their subscribers suck. They can't grow. Netflix has grown during the weakest market for consumers potentially in a while, right? We have to actually decide what you want to spend your money on. So when I look at Netflix, I love it. I'm targeting 591. Then I'm targeting the gap fill up towards 600, 605. Do what you got to do with that one. Like it a lot. Meta. Now, guys, you're going to notice a little trend here. I'm going after names that got beat up where I think we're finding. What do we want to find, guys? We want to find value. Value. And I think there's a lot of value here. Meta. Again, earnings weren't bad. They beat. They did decent, right? EPS kind of smashed. Revenue beat. They dropped because they announced that they're going to start spending money on AI. And they're going to start spending a lot of money on AI. Now, let's play the game of TikTok. All right? I just want to just highlight to why I continue to think Meta is so bullish. As a person with a small business, if you're targeting people, you use Meta, you use TikTok. Those are your favorite sources. It's been proven that Google's been really slowing down as far as ad spend. Okay, Meta's been destroying it still. Okay, if they can figure out what they're doing with AI to simplify this entire process and to get even more people inside the door, again, more money in their pocket. I like what they're doing. I think they're killing it, and hopefully it can just make their algorithm even better. This is like a win-win-win. Finally, they're not focused on the metaverse, and they're focused more on what's actually going to make them money and what's destroying the market. But again, your key levels right here, 453, where you gapped up and had that low from right there. Now, when we zoom back into the 1 hour, again, this was where things get juicy. You mount above 453, 452.85. You're looking for a break, mount, push into 461, and again, that's a tough break. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's a big move all in itself. That's a good move. That's $8. Then you have a level of 469. And then you have your gap fill all the way up here at 484. Like it, love it, put it on my chart. I want some more of it. I'm telling you, Meta has room. Meta has legs. I don't even need to do this, but I'll do it just for funsies, right? Just for funsies. Yeah, you can tell you're pretty illiquid, at least in the 461 at the bare minimum, right? Let's grab it back and pull a little bit further so you can get a better liquidity pull of this. And you can see, yes, you get some liquidity near 470. You have a little bit in this range here, but I'm telling you, very bullish on Meta. Like what I'm seeing. Again, NVIDIA, I'm only going to cover because I know a lot of you guys like it. Jay's been killing it on NVIDIA, but again, you can see here on our Lux levels, you have some resistance up here. There's no reason to get crazy. Above 924 is where you're very, very bullish. Okay. Before then, I think you're taking some risk. You got to be scalping in and out, in and out. Okay. 906, 924. You get above 924, you're cruising. That's what I'd be watching for there. Apple. I said I would talk about Apple. I still like it. It's interesting, but all you're doing here, I'm telling you, I'm not touching this thing. Now, I told you down here, stock was a fantastic idea. But up here now, 181 or 183, you are waiting to see a reaction of the 200 daily moving average. If you bounce and buy or step in, it's an easy trade back into 187, possibly back into 190. They have their iPad event this week where they're going to unveil some of their AI stuff. So this could be pretty interesting. And it definitely see some trapping of the sellers to the downside. Everyone, too, I agree with you. Apple's events typically suck. I'm not going to lie. They're usually the worst. Like, nothing good ever comes from them. Like, it's just pointless, right? This time, if they actually go full send with AI, we'll see. But I don't know how it's not good. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm not going to be trading into it. I'll be trading after it. That's how I'm going to be attacking Apple. Okay, those are my top ones right now. I'm going to tell you right off the top. Robinhood, I still think Robinhood's one of the best buys out there. I've been really silent about it. You mounted your previous 16.5 key level. So again, very bullish on Robinhood. 2025, 2026 positions. I don't know what else to say. I love them. Do what you got to do. I think their earnings are going to be fantastic. I'm beyond excited to see the growth and deposit growth that they have in their IRA accounts as well. But yeah, we'll see. I'm extremely excited. I'm so bullish on Robinhood. I don't know what else to say. Very good, smaller name. Definitely interested. Target. I've liked Target a lot, but they've just been getting hit because the Dow hasn't been getting the love that it needed. Like, it's just not getting the same amount of love as the others. Even though it might be up, you're still below major key levels. It's just not as pretty. I still like Target, but it's just I'm just holding a few positions on that now. It's kind of bleeding me out. But I think Robinhood's going to be the big winner as far as long-term swings. I've been very clear about that. Those are my top names. I'll go over Tesla, the last thing to mention. I know you guys are going to be mad that I don't cover it. Tesla looks fine. Again, I can't get bullish until you hold above 194. I like the news coming out of there. Short term, you get above 186. You can trade into 194. But over 194, you're looking for the 200 SMAs near 220. Be safe. That's what I'm looking at. If you have questions, comment down below. See you guys tomorrow.